So I'm always fascinated by the world of pig farming. But then again, you guys know that every farming commodity has its ups and downs. And one thing you need to pay attention to when you're a pig farmer is biosecurity. Welcome to another one of Ama Farmers podcasts. Today we're here with Buti Malinga, and he's a pig farmer all the way from Northwest, ne?
Yes, Northwest.
Hey, Mohakala yo.
No, but normally they used to confuse it. Many people came to, write stories about us, and then at the end they said, no, we are in Gauteng because we are very close to the border, Gauteng and Northwest.
Precisely.
But we are the Northwest people.
So, Buti, let's get into it. Tell me how your journey started into agriculture.
I was born on a farm, and then we went to the township because now on the farm there is no high schools and all that. And then I think when we get to standard 5, there's no standard 6 going upwards. So we have to find a way in the township. And then that's how we get to the township and all that. But because of the thing that we were born on the farm, and then as time goes on, I furthered my studies at the place called VUT, Val University of Technology. That is where I met Mr. Mabelane. And then Mr. Mabelane said to me, hey man, Buti, where are your parents? And then I said, no, my parents are on the farm because my mother and father were working on the same farm that we are farming on currently. My mother was a domestic worker there, and my father was a farm worker. And then I said, no, they are working at the farm for a farmer called Mr. Bezedenhout. I said, no, man, I think the best thing that we can do, let's find them, because they are old, let's find them something small so that they can, continue with something that they, because I know that old people, they like to till the ground. Mm. And then that's how we started to say, okay, right, but Mr. Moran, how is it going to happen? He said, no, we'll make an application to it was then called Land Affairs. And then because the former minister was the minister rather than Mr. Koditiso. And then from there, what then happened is that we were told when we made an application to say, no, look for an alternative farm whereby your parents can persuade farming and all that. And then I went for look for a alternative farm and all that. But eventually the farmer that my father and mother used to work for decided to sell the farm. He eventually sold the farm to Mr. Leon Kotze. And then, but then Mr. Leon Kotze came to be aware that we are looking for a farm that we can take our parents. And then from there, what then happened is that Mr. Leon Kutze said, no, you can have this farm because now seemingly he wanted to pursue some other things elsewhere. But Mr. Mabelane generally is the one that planted the seed, and then from there I ran with it.
So basically now you are farming on the farm that your parents used to be workers on.
Yes.
That's quite a journey. So how does it feel, and to be working on a land that
you grew up
on? I mean, it's like, I was in your farm. I was at your farm. It's actually a very nice farm, and it's close to a main road. Yes. So I also call it when I get the So how does it feel to be farming on, like, owning the land that basically owned your parents?
It comes with a lot of emotions because I remember we have a milking parlor there. I literally used to work there, during school holidays and milking the kettles of Mr. Bezedenhout. And the tables have changed, and now we are the owners of the farm. But thankful to the government of South Africa, because if it wasn't for them, I don't think we should have had been that farm. But like you say, Tabi, it's something that I think is very special. I think when I have to look back and check, but how many people that farm on the farms that they were workers on,
Not many.
I don't think there are.
I don't think there are many Butis. No.
We are few in a million, maybe.
So let's talk about the operation. How big is it? And also you farm with pigs, right?
Yeah. The operation was for 120 sow units, But of course now we are culling most of the pigs because we are busy with the constructions from April. We are moving from 120 to 600. There is it's
quite a jump.
Yeah, it's quite a big jump. Yeah. And then now we are scaling down because now we are going to do what they call high health pigs. Now the current pigs that are, I'll just call them normal pigs that are people that are using everywhere. We are getting rid of them because we need to clean everything, and then when we bring in the high health pigs, everything should be clean. And there is a lot of advantages for high health, Tabi, if I may mention. Because high health, from the recommendations that was made by the number of people in the pork industry, the vets, they said they eat less, which is a plus for a farmer. If you've got an animal that eats less,
yeah, then you don't gotta spend a lot of money on food and feed.
Yeah, and then they also grow faster, and then they don't have a lot of what we call diseases that are like the other disease-prone type of pigs that you need to use a lot of vaccination for and all those things. Now, what then happens is that your medication bill is going to drop, and which is a plus for the farmer. And then you are able to sell. Normally we sell at the age of 22 weeks, but with the high health ones, we will sell at the age from age 19 weeks going forward. You can start to sell. So in other words, I'll be sparing feed for about 4 weeks. Yeah. So if you are a farmer and a serious farmer, then those should be the takeaways that you want to take advantage of.
How did you find out about this? I'll be honest with you, it's the first time I hear of these high health pigs.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So how did you find out about these pigs?
Look, we are associated with a pig genetic company called PIC. And then there is a gentleman by the name of Maurits de Villiers. He has been mentioning these things to me many times, but now I didn't have interest on that because now the high health pigs, like I said, there is a lot of advantages. Now everyone, apparently from what I've been told, the industry is starting to shift towards the high health. Hence I was advised to say, now that you are in the building phase, this is the right time, because now for you to change from the normal pigs to high health, you need to cull everything. Now, meaning selling every living pig on your farm. And then from there, you have to do what they call a deep clean. When we had the ASF, there is a program that you need to follow as when you clean the farm that was hit by ASF. Now, even when you want to go from the normal pigs to high health, you need to use the same program. And then it's a lot of money. And the other thing is that when you cull all your pigs, it means there is a point whereby your farm is not going to have an income.
Yes.
Right?
I was just thinking about that.
Yes.
You're gonna cull everything. So how are you gonna run the farm without money?
Yes. And then from there, for you, is something that we are going to experience next year, because we are planning to put in pigs around March, because the construction is busy. They're going to conclude it around March next year. Then around March, we are going to be starting to take our first pigs. And then it takes you about 10 months to 11 months for you to be able to inseminate a pig. And then you're counting those period of gestation period and farrowing and all that. And then they must grow, being a weaner, a grower, up until you take them to market. That period is about 10 months. Now, there won't be any income during that time. So now, this is the challenge that farmers are actually finding it difficult, because you are going to spend that period without any income, and which business that is operating will want to risk that?
No. Not many. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a challenge in something, but it's something worth doing. I'm not sure the South African pork producers, they did mention to say this is the move that the entire industry is taking. So How will all the farmers be able to do that, or those who will be able to do that will survive? However, it does not mean that if you've got high health, then everything is
you are
good.
sorted. No,
you are sorted, because the same high health can still be contaminated if your biosecurity is not up to scratch.
Speaking of biosecurity, I was at your farm, and hey, I've never seen so many food dips. At a point, I'm thinking, let me just take off my shoes and you know. And then I've been on a few pig farms like Taibosh, where you shower. You shower.
Yes.
So, how important is biosecurity, especially when farming with pigs?
It is very important. In actual fact, it's a nucleus or the main, fundamental element that you need to observe if you are a pig farmer or even poultry farmer or something. Biosecurity is very, very important. I will tell you this, Tabi. You see, in a pig setup, there is a breeder site. There is also a grower site. Now, even in the breeder site, the different houses, because in the breeder site, you can have, in our case, I think we are having something like 1, 2, 3, about 8 houses in the breeder site. Now, those 8 houses, each and every house have got their own pathogens that are existing in those houses.
Yeah.
Now, if you move around, we are carrying, those bacteria from one house to another. Hence, why it is important when you go from one house to another, you dip right at the door. But now the biosecurity started actually when the workers are coming in. You should actually shower.
Precisely, yeah.
Yes. The right procedure that you need to follow is that you first shower, and then after showering, there is a process in the they call that ablution block where there is showers and everything. There is somewhere where you have to first leave your own shoes, right? And then jump to this side. There is a short wall. You take off your shoes that side, and then you jump over that short wall. Then this side you walk with your what you call your socks to the shower room. Then there you take off your clothes, right? Everything you take off your clothes. You hit the shower, and then the farm. I have to ensure that I was told yesterday. To say I have to ensure that I need to buy socks for my farm workers. I need to buy underwears for my farm workers. I need to buy overalls for my farm workers. I need to buy boots. Every PPE that they're going to use, meaning that there is nothing that comes from home that needs to get in that inside the operation. Then from there, once you are inside, then that's when you move around. Then that's where we get to the food dips. Food dip, when you even dip your first food, it must not touch the ground. It must go inside the house. Because what if there is something there by the door?
On the ground, outside the house.
Yes,
yeah.
You dip, and then when you step, you out of the foot path, you step inside the house, not outside then inside, because you can catch something there and then go with it inside. So that happens from house to house. Even when you go out, there is pathogen or those bacteria that are found there. You leave them in the footpath and then step outside and follow the same procedure when you get to another houses.
Oh, that is quite a process. I mean, I saw it firsthand.
Yes,
I've been to quite a few pig farms. I saw it firsthand.
Yeah.
So, and speaking of biosecurity, I don't think, have you ever got hit with avian flu or anything? Not avian flu. Avian flu get
Yeah.
No. So have you ever got hit by swine flu?
No, fortunately not.
Really?
No. And I can tell you it's precisely because as much as we were small with the 100-hour unit then, Tabi, there was a time that I was captured by one of the magazines, and then they wrote in their what you call headlines to say Buti Malinga, emerging farmer but practicing as a commercial farmer.
I see.
Now the practice that we have been doing was as if we are commercial, whereas we are not, because now the practice is the one that will actually show you direct you to the abattoirs, the right abattoirs. When the abattoirs come, or when they need to take your product, they want to check how do you do things, how's your establishment, are you following certain standards and procedures, you know. And then I then felt that we were forced somehow to follow that. Otherwise, where are we going to take our pigs?
So you just mentioned something very, very interesting now. You said that the way you practice will eventually lead you to where you want to be. So at that time, you were not a commercial farmer, but you're practicing as a commercial farmer.
Correct.
And now, because of that, it got you to commercial status.
Yes.
So a lot of people think out there, pigs and chickens are easier to farm with and you make your money quick. But, however, there are other things which can basically derail your dreams.
Yes.
So what other advice do you have for someone who wants to start pig farming?
Taibi, I'm not going to sugarcoat things here. Pig farming is a lucrative business because there is a lot of cash injection that is, happening. But what I've seen of land so far is that you are just a conveyor belt. You are receiving a lot of money, but you're giving it away again, But the fundamentals that you need to understand is that when you start, if you want to become a pig farmer, there is a number of things that you need to understand. It starts with what type of a pig farmer do I want to be, right? It also means that at what level do I want to farm? Because we've got subsistent farmers, we've got emerging farmers, we've got commercial farmers, and so forth. Now, if you are, but the actual business is when you are a commercial farmer, right? Today, if you want to be a commercial farmer, at least you need to be having about 350 to 600 sow units. There you can start being a commercial farmer, whereby at least there is something like a profit that you can generate, right? But that does not just come because there is a number of things that you need to take to consideration. Like, for instance, the genetics. When you want to start farming with pigs, what genetics are you interested in? Or what genetics during your research that we have seen works better than the rest, right? Because now, not any female pig can be able to be used as a breeding stock. Now, all the genetics companies, they produce, a pig that is compatible for breeding. Because type, you can imagine, when a pig is being used or is being inseminated, right, it takes about between 114 to 116 days, that we call it a gestation period, whilst it's pregnant after insemination. And then after that, what then happens, it goes 2 weeks before it farrows, you move it to the farrowing house so that it can acclimatize in the farrowing house and all that. Then after that, it gives birth, it farrows, right? Then it takes about 28 days, 4 weeks with the children, nursing the children. After that, it needs to be taken, now you win the piglets, and then from there, you take the sow, back to the dry sow. It's dry, there's nothing. Now, within 3 days, that sow is its own heat again. It needs to be inseminated again. That is the rotation. Now, can you see that pig? It is always pregnant.
Yeah.
There is no, in its life, it takes only 3 days dry. But every time it is pregnant. Now, it is not any type of pig that can take that strain. Hence, the genetics are there to ensure that the strain of that nature is being, taken by this type of pigs. You see, so genetics is very important. And moving further from genetics, what type of feed that we are going to use? I mean, I don't know, Taibi, correct me if I'm wrong. I know that a human have about 11 taste buds, right? But a pig have got 32 taste buds, meaning a pig is more sensitive than you in terms of, tasting a rotten thing or a bad thing. Now, most of our farmers or people that are suffering with issues of feed, they feed what we call swill, rotten potatoes and cabbages and everything.
Lettuce, I've seen that, yeah.
You have seen that. Now, then you can imagine something that's got 32 taste buds that is so sensitive, and then you give it rotten things. Now, obviously, because it's an animal, eventually it's going to eat those things. But now you are only feeling the stomach of the pig. Forget about the growth, forget about the FCR, because at some point as a farmer, you need to know how much do I spend cost for production to grow this pig from these kgs to that kgs. And how do you determine that? By feed conversion rate. You can't subject a pig that is eating swill to a feed conversion rate. And now, if you are a serious farmer, you need to know, when I take my pigs from the farrowing house, I take them to the winner house, they take only 6 weeks, right? And then from winner house to grower house, they must at least take 10 weeks there. You understand? Now, if you feed swill, forget about that growth, because they're not going to grow.
They're not.
You are not in business, in simple terms.
So here's the thing there. You mentioned now all the things that are needed in order for you to become a successful pig farmer.
Correct.
So what else should I look out for when I'm farming with pigs? I mean, you mentioned that the feed must be good feed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What about the water?
Yes. Tabi, issue of water is very important, because there is a number of minerals that are actually found in the water, and you can only see them when we have tested the water. That is why in the industry we have been told that at least we must test our water twice a year, And then if our water is contaminated, then there is some mitigation strategies that we can implement, at least for us to give our animals the right water. Because I don't know, there is no animal that takes a lot of water like pig. And because now you could recall that a pig does not have a sweat glands. And then
that's why they roll in the mud.
That's why they roll in the mud. Yeah. And water is something that they consume a lot of water as a result of that to cool themselves. Now, but the quality of the water, it's a fundamental element that we cannot just take it to consideration. But the importance part of it of that is that when we use the water, we need to check in what way do we get the water to our pigs, And sometimes you find that in the piggery houses, there is what we call a water basin. But now it depends on the size of your pig. The water basin for a winner, it should be down. I mean, the people that are implementing the pig houses, they will tell you. And then it should, now, there is a line that is actually, transmitting that water to that. Now, at some point, you need to ensure that there is a chemical that you are using to clean the water line.
Yeah.
Because there is a number of bacteria that can actually form from the water line. Now, there is a period whereby you need to clean all your water lines. Now, if you are not doing that, you are going to realize very late that my pigs are not growing well and all that. And when the vets come and check everything, you'll find that there is something in the water line. But the quality of water is very critical.
So how do you know when a pig is sick? And also, do you do what we call scouting?
Tabi, let me put it this way to you. As a farmer, you have to be in your houses every day. And a pig, there is a way that we are able to see it. When you get inside a pig house, then immediately when you enter the door, you'll see they will start to scare, and then they run into towards one group, one corner or something, and then from there, then you enter and then you move around. They will then start to relax, and then you start to check each and every pen. A pig that is or a piglet that is not well, you will see it. It will be lying somewhere in the corner, or lying, and then others will be coming and then playing with it or something like that, but it will be just lying. That is one way of identifying a sick pig. Or when there is a scour, at the backside of them, you can be able to see there is a scouring that is taking place. Or sometimes when they get cold, you will see the fur, it's going to grow bigger. And then once that is the case, then we'll know that this pig is not well. And their body structure, their body condition can also tell to say, no, this pig is not well, because it is not growing like the rest, you know. Then that's how you identify. But there is a number of clinical signs that you can actually see the pigs, especially when we are doing the walkabouts with the vets and everything.
So we all know that pigs, diakaka. yeah, they know.
Yeah. They extricate.
Yeah. Sorry, my English bundles have depleted. So I want to know, what do you do with the waste?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Maybe let me take it from where, at the space where we are now currently, whereby we'll be expanding. There is going to be a lot of pigs, and then everything is going to, you know, go through the pipes from the breeder side to the grower side, right? Then eventually there is a big sump that everything goes to get into. Then from the sump, we are going to extract everything, and then there is an equipment called a separator that separates the solids from the liquid. Then next to that sump, there is a dam, affluent dam. In the dam goes, a dam is going to be lined, then goes effluent water that are contaminated. Then the solids, we are going to sell them to the local crop farmers.
For manure?
For manure, yes. That is a gold. That is a very big gold. And then the effluent from the dam, we are going to irrigate it on our fields, and then we are also going to do a plantation of lucerne and Smith's finger. That's where majority of the effluent is going to go to. But the other thing that we are going to do in terms of getting rid of our mortalities, we are going to bury the mortalities inside that manure from the solids. We just bury them there. In the next 32 days or so, you won't find anything. That manure, they call it decomposting. You won't even see a piglet or something. Of course, for a bigger pig, I think it takes about 3 months or so to see, to a point whereby you don't see anything. Not even a bone, you won't see anything. Yeah.
Let's talk about markets. First of all, who do you sell to?
We are selling to Dreamland. I'm sure you know Mea Naposa.
Yeah. She must come here.
I will tell her.
Please tell her she must come here. She's one of the biggest pig farmers I know. She must come here.
Yeah. No, Dreamland is our clients. We supply them, and after we conclude with the current expansions, we'll be supplying them something like 200 pigs per week. And then there is another abattoir in Forgeville that is going to be taking about 80, Forsput abattoir, and then we'll be also taking about 80, I think, to Linka Meats here in Merton.
How do I, as a pig farmer now, how do I find a market? Because growing these things, yes, you're going to have to actually eventually start selling them and making your money back.
You see, Tabi, it's a challenging matter, and I don't know how to coin it, because I've raised this matter with Mea Naposa to say, especially the emerging farmers, you know, there is a trajectory that is being taken by the big commercial farmers. Big commercial farmers, we understand that they're in business. Now, wherever they slaughter their pigs, they find that the small guys are a risk for issues of ASF and all that, which is going to be a risk for their business. Now, there is a trend that most of the abattoirs, they somehow, you know, sideline the small guys so that they prevent them from coming to slaughter in their abattoirs, because they don't meet the required standards. You know, POC 360 compartmentalization and all that. As a small pig farmer, that is a very expensive exercise for you to do. Now, what then happens, for the abattoirs to take your product, they want to see your facilities. And most of the people that are still, coming, they don't have proper facilities, because facilities, Tabi, let us be honest. There is no way you can build a 350 sow unit for less than 40 million.
Yeah, no.
Now that person who does not have any source of income, any, standard, or how can I put it, things like he can be able to go to the bank and borrow money, because you know what the bank wants. They will want financials, they
security,
will want
security,
and most of these guys, they don't have that. And now, what do you think there is a chance of them even going to 350? There is nothing like that. Now, I was saying to Mayor and Apostle, say, man, we need to engage the authorities to say, but let us come with a strategy to say, how do we, because it's also not correct, because some of those people that are there, they actually survive with the monies that they are actually generating, even though it's not something that they are making a lot of money. You can't make a lot of money with 30 sow unit. But at least there is something, even if you feed that sweet and everything, but a family can live out of that, As much as we should be something that we should say, no, we don't need to feed sweet, but what if you don't have feed, Because now some families, there is families that are actually surviving from 1 or 2 pigs, and then they will slaughter and sell it, from their hand, and that money does difference in their family, It's a situation that we are faced with. It's not something that is, out there, but you don't know how to do, what to deal with it. And we need to find ways, okay, but how do we deal with it? But coming to your question with regard to the issues of market, it pains my heart. I must say that. It pains my heart to look at the prices that I see when I get to the retail.
No. Every farmer that sits here has a problem where you get paid very little money, but your product is almost quadruple at the shop.
Yes. Tabi, as a pig farmer, right, I have to ensure that I build the facilities for this thing to grow properly. I have to ensure that those things are healthy, medicate them when they are sick. I have to ensure they eat good quality feed, the water is good and everything. And even when they need to be, they need to farrow. Somebody, regardless what time of the night, there should be somebody who will receive those piglets when they come out. And make sure that these piglets are not just going to die. The mortality rate, we need to try by all means that we drive it down. Now, that is the trouble that the farmer takes. And at the end of the day, I'm told by whoever to say, no, this is how much I can give you. I cannot determine my price after all those things, right? Fine. And then my journey ends when my pigs are on the trucks to the abattoir. That's where my journey ends, right? And then from there, what happens? The person that is going to take my product and put it in the shelf is going to put in 75 rand extra on top of the 30 rand that he has given me. And then who have taken the risk there? Me.
You.
And what is it that he has done? He have paid 12 rand something for the person who's going to cut the meat and put it in the shelf. And who's making a lot of money? That man is not even having a farm. He does not have to have the knowledge or training about how to farm. All what he has done is to receive your product and put it in the shelf and then make money out of it. Is that fair?
No, it's not. Not by a long shot.
But they say that's the game. The name of the game in South Africa. No, that thing leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. I can tell you about Tabi.
A lot of cattle farmers are facing the same thing.
Yeah.
Pretty much all livestock farmers are facing the same thing. Even the guys that do maize say the same thing.
Yes.
That, you know what, we do most, if not all the hard work, but the middleman makes the money. How is that possible?
But this is the time, Tabi, if I may say, this is the time that we as farmers, we must close the value chain. This is the time that we need to take hands. The problem that we have in South Africa is that we want to work in silos. You know, myself, I've got a farm, but do I have to have an abattoir for myself, my 600 sow units? It's not going to be profitable. You understand? But there is a Dreamland people that got an abattoir, you know, top of the class of top of notch type of an abattoir. You understand? We can talk and say, okay, but we've got an abattoir here, and then we've got a piggery there. Let's start to talk about processing. Where are we taking? Because now what we will be doing, Tab, is this one. Maybe we are going to form an entity, which we are going to take our own pigs to the abattoir, which is our own now abattoir, right? And then from our abattoir, it goes to our own processing plant. Now, that 50 rand or 75 rand that man from the enterprise was taking, it's still part of us. I mean, it's now going to belong to us. That extra 70 rand, we are not going to give it to the retail people anymore. But now, because of that, we don't want to work together and join hands. That's why people come and then do as they want with us.
And lastly, Buti, you've said a lot. You've said a lot. And the thing is, unfortunately, everything that you've said is true. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I've seen it firsthand also, where I would go to a farm and the farmer spends a lot of time and money on growing this cattle or this pig, whatever. And then I'll go to the local retail store, and that meat is very expensive.
Yes.
And then me as a consumer, I'm thinking, hey, these farmers must be rich. You know? Why am I paying 250 rand for a kilogram of steak? That doesn't make sense. Only to find out. So what would you like to see going forward for the South African agricultural sector as a whole?
You know, Chabi, there have been a number of opportunities that has been created by our government. We are thankful of that. But the thing that we want to see now is that, is there a mechanism that is able to trace that the opportunities are trickling down to the farmer? You know, because Tabi, we are the ones that are producing food, right? And if we are not going to be taken serious, then this hunger challenge that we are facing in the country is not going to stop. Because what? We don't have a systematic way of dealing with the challenges that we are having in the agricultural sector, you know. But for as long as we are not having a system, you know, that will ensure that now there was a time whereby China decided to open doors for South Africa to export beef. And then there is another country, I think is UAE.
UAE. Yeah, that one I don't know about, yeah.
Now, I was talking in some of the gatherings of the POC people and said, now guys, this is the time that we need to take advantage. Because what is going to happen here is this. Beef is going to be expensive because many people want to export because that's where they get most of the money. Now it's going to be expensive, and what then is going to be left? Proteins from chicken and pig. And then chicken is a protein that is consumed almost everywhere. And then, but how can we take advantage of that? People must also choose the pigs, not only protein of chicken. So now I was saying to them, let's deal with the advertising to say, because there is a narrative, Tabi, that people that are having to say, no, a pig is a dirty thing, and you know, and because they've never been exposed to the type of pig that we are growing. You understand? But for as long as we are not doing that, we are not going to win. But my parting ways will be this, Tabi. We want that the opportunities that are created by government, as and when they go to overseas and they're signing the memorandum of understanding and then the export things, they need to ensure, okay, we have got this thing. How do our farmers benefit from this thing? Because from where I'm sitting, I think it's only commercial people that are benefiting because they meet all the standards. Because for you to export, you must meet certain standards.
Yes.
And small people don't meet those standards. It's very expensive for them to do that.
Buti, thank you so much for coming through. I've learned a lot.
Okay.
Hopefully the viewers and the listeners also learned a lot.
Yeah.
And then, yes, you know what? I take my hat off to you guys as farmers. You know, that's the number one reason why we started this. Yeah. It's because we see what you guys go through. And it is also our duty in the media to actually make this public knowledge and also to educate the people.
Yeah. No, thanks for having us, Tabi. We are thankful of the platform. And then we hope that this is not our last invite.
Lerata media attention. Lerata media attention. No, it's not. As a matter of fact, you told me outside you got new developments in your farm. I'm coming to see it.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Buti.
All right, thanks a lot. Thank you, Tabi.
And thank you guys for coming through to Ama Fama. As you guys can see, we always bring you top layer, top shelf stuff of farmers. And hopefully you guys learned something and also were entertained. Next time you go to your shop and buy meat, go buy that pork, mafetu. Those of you who eat it, by the way. Go buy that pork because you see what it takes to produce it. Thank you so much, and please keep on engaging with us on our socials. See you again on the next one.